so you can see the text. Okay, so St. Augustine stresses that in the offering which the church makes, she herself is offered. So we offer, at the same time we are being offered. We will look at that later. He explains that a sacrifice is a visible sign of an invisible sacrifice. Okay. Since we are the body of Christ, it follows that when we offer Christ to the Father, we ourselves are offered. So just to think about that logic there. Who do we offer, or who offers Christ? Why does he offer? For our reconciliation with God, restoration of friendship with God. But Christ is basically shared our human nature, and through baptism we're incorporated into his humanity. Okay? So when Jesus Christ offers himself, where is his body? Where is his body? When he offers himself to the Father, where is his body? He offers his body along with his sacrifice. Okay? So when we offer Christ at Mass, we are being offered because we are the body of Christ, the mystical body of Jesus Christ. Okay? So when we offer at Mass, we are being offered. As we offer Mass, we are being offered. We will explore that concept later more. But we are being offered. Why? Because Christ is offering and we are his body. So we are being offered to God. That's why we say through him, with him, in him. That's how you and I can be acceptable to the Father. Because we're being offered by Christ. Otherwise, I can't offer myself. How? There's no venue for me to offer myself to the Father except the way. And the way is one, the way is Jesus Christ. So I can't do a self-offering.
There's nothing greater than this.
Yes, there's nothing greater than the Mass. That's how we become sacrifices pleasing to the Father. That's how me, a judged person, becomes a sweet-smelling sacrifice, ascending to the Father. Because of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, because he offers me, and at the same time offering. So we'll look at later on who offers and what is offered. Then that way we'll look at all these different aspects. So the offertory, the offering. So St. Augustine writes, a sacrifice is the visible sacrament that is a sacred sign of an invisible sacrifice. A true sacrifice is every work which is done that we may cling to God in holy worship. So he extends basically the meaning of sacrifice. Everything, every work that is done for salvation is a sacrifice. In other words, every salvific action is a sacrifice. That's why we can offer sacrifices in daily life, in general. So thus, man himself, consecrated in the name of God and dedicated to God, is a sacrifice insofar as he dies to the world that he may live to God. Romans chapter 1. Let's just rather chapter 12. Let's just read that text, the first verses of Romans 12. So what does Paul tell us? Romans chapters 12, 14, and 15 are very important because they are the practical way of living the faith. So if you say you believe, live like this. Okay. I urge you therefore, verse 1, I urge you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, your spiritual worship. What is that? He explains it in the next verse. What is the first spiritual sacrifice we have to offer? Basically dying to the self. Because to conquer myself is the most difficult thing in my life. You can conquer the whole world. You can be president of the United States, okay? But conquering the self. So, how do we do that? Do not conform yourselves to this age, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and a pleasing and perfect. Do not conform yourselves to this age, the sinful age. So that is the first thing we offer. Okay? So, St. Augustine continues, so we offer insofar as we die to the world, that we may live for God, or live to God. It follows that the whole congregation is offered as a corporate sacrifice through the great priest, who also offered himself in his passion for us. The whole congregation is offered as a corporate sacrifice, a corporate body, through the great priest, who also offered himself in his passion for us, that we might be there's no for there, that we might be the body of so glorious a head. That's the only way we become the body of Christ, when he offers us to the Father, and the Father accepts that offering. Okay? And when Christ offers, the Father cannot reject the offering. So that's why how we become acceptable. Okay? So this is the sacrifice of Christians. We, the many, are one body in Christ. And this is the sacrifice which the church continually celebrates in the sacrament of the altar. In it, the church learns that in the offering which she makes, she herself is offered. Christ is servant. He is also priest, the very one who offers and the very offering. And he willed that the sacrifice of the church should be the daily sacrament of this, meaning his sacrifice. Since she is the body of this head, meaning the church is the body of the head, through him she is taught to offer herself. St. Augustine says those things in his book called The City of God. Many of us hear about the Confessions of St. Augustine, but that's not the only book he wrote. Okay? The City of God. Okay. Since she, the church, is the body of this head, through him she is taught to offer herself. So how do we offer? As Christ offers. That is very significant. How do we offer as Christ offers? So if we were obedient to offer as Christ offers, we wouldn't have all these abuses going on. We wouldn't have all these, go to Catholic church after Catholic church. Sometimes you don't even know you are in a Catholic church, because it's chaotic. Different people do different things. How? Because what does it mean to offer as Christ offers? Especially like for the priest and the people as well, for the priest, is to offer as the church tells me to offer. Because when I'm obedient to the church, I'm obedient to Christ. When I obey the bishops, the Pope and the bishops, I obey Christ. So if I want to offer as Christ offers, to teach me to learn from Christ how to offer, I must be obedient to his church. That's why we have rites. That's why I showed you last time. We have a missal. If you have a missal, okay, and the general instruction, you have a missal, and because of the importance of sacrifice, the church writes an entire document. Let me get it.
Here.
Oh, no, it's here. Right here. So, this is important what St. Augustine said. Since she is the body of his head, through him she is taught to offer herself. So, the sacrifice is very, very important. the sacrifice of the Mass is the primary work of the priestly people. And the sacrifice of the Mass is the primary work of the priest. This is the work of a priest. Okay? You can't be a priest if you don't offer sacrifice. So the essence of the priesthood is sacrifice. So that's why the church goes to great length to teach us, to instruct us how to offer as Christ offers, to obey His church. So we have this book called the Roman Missal. When you open the Roman Missal, you see black and red everywhere. Okay? So the red are called rubrics, instructing a priest what to do, how to do it, how to offer sacrifice. Okay? So these are rites, and they tell you everything you need to do. So after this, they write an entire book, the general instructions of the Roman Missal. Again, to instruct a priest on how to do things. Now, this is incorporated here now. Okay? In the beginning, we have the Missal. Okay? That's here, the general instructions. Okay? So that a priest is able to do as the church does. Because when we offer as the church tells us to do so, we are offering as Christ offers. We are not doing our own thing, we are doing the work of Christ. That's why we say a priest does it in the person and the name of Jesus Christ, not in his own name. So these rites are very important, okay, in this way. That somebody was telling me about what we priests do, different things. What is a rite? Simple definition of a rite. We have the rite of Mass. Okay? From the beginning, the name of the Father, that's the rite of the Mass until the end. We call them rites. What is a rite? A rite simply is an It is an approved practice in the administration of sacrifice. The key word is approved. So I can't, as a priest, make up things as I go along at Mass. If I do that, I'm not offering as Christ offers, because I'm being disobedient to His church. It must be approved by the approving authority. This is the Pope and the bishops. So when, for example, in the US we have this Conference of Catholic Bishops, Rome approves this. So they teach with the Pope, in union with the Pope. And so this is what we must follow. Okay? So whenever we do our own thing, and think that we can approve, oh, that looks nice, or whatever, then we can't offer as Christ offers. It's an act of disobedience. Basically, we are doing our own thing, what Pope Benedict calls the golden calf. So we create golden calves for ourselves, and we worship a God of our own making. In other words, self-worship. We are not worshiping God. So we can't offer as Christ offers.
So you're hearing this, Nick?
Oh, he knows it. I gave him an earphone. Okay, already knows. So that's what it is. So that's how we are being offered. We can't offer any other way than the way Christ offered Himself. He is the one who teaches us how to offer. So we can't make things as we go along. This is very important because the rite of Mass, the rite of a sacrament, basically is by that rite that the mystery unfolds and the grace is communicated. So once you mess up with the rite, you are messing up with the process of the unfolding of the mystery. So the liturgical action is very, very important. And some priests will talk about, oh, I'm very strict about the liturgy. Their own liturgy, not the liturgy of the church. Because they tell people to do things that are liturgically wrong, that are contrary to these instructions.
Father, nowadays, it is my observation that as a laity, I almost have to know the rubrics of the Mass.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
You don't know where you are.
I mean, there seems that things that seem to be obvious, but some that are not, and unless I know.
Yes, that's why we need to study. It's because it's not the priest offering, but we as well offer along with the priest. So we have to know the offering, how we do this.
Would you recommend it would behoove us as laity, if we were to purchase a missal ourselves and study it?
Yes. Yes. Because these documents are not private, because you offer Mass also. So the more you understand what is happening, the more we benefit from what Christ is doing. But if we think a priest is doing his own thing over there and they offer here, we're just waiting for Holy Communion. But what is Holy Communion? If I have no clue as to what is going on. Yeah, in this day and age, because we have the resources, we need to form, we usually say education, but to form ourselves into the faith. As I always tell you this, I said this before and over again, the age of Father told us is no longer tenable. What Father told us, because Father can tell you things. Okay? And if you have the means to form yourself into the faith, why don't you use it? What Father told us, that's no longer tenable.
Because also our comprehension of what he's telling us can be misconstrued when we communicate.
Or Father can really say something contrary to the faith. As I told you before, there's a church somewhere here. A priest retired, then they appointed a new priest there. And when he went there, he was talking about purgatory. And the parishioners told him, oh, Father told us we no longer believe in that. We don't believe in that here, in purgatory. So this all the priest told these people, okay, if there's no purgatory, if you die, I'm not praying for you. There's no. If there's no purgatory, why would I pray for you when you die? The reason we pray for the dead is because of the teaching on purgatory. If there's no purgatory, we don't need to pray for the dead. So their father told them, oh, he was there for a long time, he told them there's no purgatory. And yet when they die, that's why when people die, the funeral mass turns into a mass of canonization. But it's contrary to the mass of canonization is not a funeral mass. Because when you look at the rites of the funeral mass, every prayer is a plea to God for mercy. It's not a prayer of thanksgiving to God that we are in heaven. That happens when the Pope does it. Okay, so write in your funeral arrangements that Father, when I die, my mass should be a funeral mass, not a mass of canonization. I need prayers. Okay. So St. Augustine stresses that the sacrifice which the Church offers is the sacrament of Christ's sacrifice. In offering Christ, the Church offers herself since she is his body. Okay? She is his body. But basically, briefly mentioning about this, his body. It's a very rich concept there. In baptism, what do we become? We see this in when God makes a covenant in Exodus 19. Okay. Before they enter into covenant relationship with God, God basically tells them what this covenant is going to achieve for them. Okay? You're going to be my own possession. You're going to be a holy nation. St. Peter also mentions this. We're going to be a priestly people, nation. Okay. So when God chooses us, we're talking about how baptism incorporates us into the body of Jesus Christ, okay? So that we are able to be offered, so that He can offer us to God, okay? As we offer the sacrifice, my own possession, meaning that basically He owns us, we belong to Him. So we are His property. And He did much to procure us to become His own. He died on the cross to make us His possession. And He does much more. He does a lot to keep us in being, meaning to conserve us. So we're being conserved, being protected, maintained, maintenance, like a car. Because the bride of Christ needs, constant maintenance. The body parts, break because of sin. So we need constant maintenance. Okay? So He does that because we are His possession. But how do we become His own possession? By sharing in His own holiness. We share in the holiness of God, which we may call His life. Okay? Just to think, that's how we become His possession. By sharing in His own holiness. We become holy because we are His possession. And so, when we become holy, we have obligations to live that holiness. That's where we become our priestly people, the exercise of this holiness. So that's why you can't separate faith from morals. We believe and we live. So this holiness places upon us moral demands on how to live. Because God is holy. And He has made us holy. We share in His holiness. So our actions must be godly. We can't say, I believe, okay, God did suffer for me and died for me. I can live my life any way I want, but I will go to heaven. I have obligations, okay, to live according to what I have become. If we are a holy nation, so we must show that. Okay? So, in offering Christ, the church offers herself since she is His holy priestly possession. Because He made us this, we are able to offer Him. And we are able to be offered to God. So St. Augustine also emphasized, and of course, as we always say, that the goal of the sacrifice is to make us holy, meaning to make us like God. So that's why we are studying these things more deeply, to know how to be like God, to know how to act like God, so that we may truly show that we are His children, not only in name, but also in deed. So St. Augustine also emphasizes that Christ was offered only once on the cross, but He is offered daily in the Eucharist. Christ was immolated, but once in His own person, and yet He is immolated daily in the sacrament. Okay, what we talked about earlier on, commemorative, demonstrative, and psychological. Augustine leaves no doubt that the faithful on earth can help the departed by praying for them and be holy sacrifice. In the Confessions, he passes on to us his mother's dying request. His mother was Monica. This alone I ask, that wherever we shall be, you will remember me at the altar of the Lord. Augustine then turns to God and writes, she only desired that a remembrance of her be made at thy altar, which she had served without a single day's interruption, and from which she learned that the sacred victim was administered. when you look at all these things, so what does Luther know about these things that Augustine didn't know? That Luther is right and Augustine is wrong. Or Luther will quote Augustine and twist his words. So St. Augustine discusses this question further in a sermon in which he says that it is the tradition of the fathers and the universal practice of the church to pray for the dead at the holy sacrifice so that God may deal with them more mercifully than their sins deserve. So this idea of not emphasizing the teaching on purgatory basically empties the sacrifice, the meaning of the sacrifice. As you know that at every Mass, we pray for those who have passed on. At every Mass in the Eucharistic prayer. It's not something new. So Augustine writes, the prayers of the Holy Church, the prayers of Holy Church, and the salutary sacrifice and alms by which supplication is made for their spirits undoubtedly benefit the dead. The prayers of Holy Church benefit the dead. Undoubtedly. Okay? It's not that we think, we know that they benefit the dead. And as much as God deals with them more mercifully than their sins deserve. All of us have to pray for that. Pray like that. Okay? God, my sins deserve death, but don't treat me according to what I deserve. Be merciful. For it is the tradition of the fathers. Now, St. Augustine is a father of the church. But then he's quoting the fathers and making reference to the tradition. Okay? So, for it is the tradition of the fathers and the universal practice of the church to pray for those who have departed this life in communion with the body and the blood of Christ. When they remember, they are remembered in a place reserved for them in the very sacrifice. These are of profit to the dead, but only to such who so lived before death that these things might be of profit to them after death. So you see, there's like a caveat, meaning those who never radically denied God or lived in such a way that they rejected the faith. Okay? Those who died, we'll look at that when we get to the Eucharistic prayers. Those who die, they have not rejected God, but yet there are certain sins or consequences of their sinfulness they didn't fully atone for in this life. We atone for sin, the consequences of our sinfulness by prayer, almsgiving, and fasting, which is prayer, sacrifice, and charity. Okay? So if we don't do that here, we'll do it over there. Okay? So we better pray now, we better be charitable now, we better sacrifice now. So if they don't been fully atoned for those things, they will atone them for, rather put them in purgatory. They'll be purified there. Okay? So just look at the clarity of our faith all through the centuries. It is very clear what the church believes and understands by what she believes. So that's why Cardinal Newman, who became a Catholic, he was Protestant, he became a Catholic, he said that you can only be a Protestant if you don't know church history. In other words, he said, you can't know the history of the church and be a Protestant. That's why Protestantism tries to avoid history. Because when you go back into history, you are led only to one place, where some of them don't want to be. So that's why it's very important for us at least to know the history of the church, the history of the development of doctrine.
Does Protestant has offer mass or no?
They can't.
Well, they can, but they do.
They can't.
What does that mean?
Well, they try.
They try.
She's saying they try.
They can't even try. Why can't they?
Yeah.
Because they don't have priests.
They don't have a priest.
Why can't they? We're going to explain it. Why can't they?
Catholics have mass. We are the only ones that get to have mass.
Yes.
It's exclusive and it differentiates Catholicism.
It wouldn't be exclusive, okay? They exclude themselves. But many of them through no fault of their own. Because they are born and raised in these traditions. Okay? So some of them don't know. So we can't tell them you heretic. Okay, so some of them know, but many of them don't. So during the so-called Reformation, which here we call the Deformation, okay, what happened was that, remember what we said about the sacrament? Okay? We explained why they don't have mass. The sacrament, in order for the sacrament to be valid, we must have proper form and matter, or matter and form. Matter and form. For example, baptism. In order for baptism to be valid, it must have matter and the form. Form are the words that explain, okay? Matter, okay? I baptize you, that's the form. I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. That's the form. So if I have water and I say, I'll say, I love you so much, you're my body, okay? You are not baptized. Or if I use the form, I baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but I'm using, beer. You are not baptized because I'm not using the proper form. Okay?
So what about like the nut jobs out on the strip that are always carrying signs and being radical and everything else? What if they were carrying around water and they were trying to baptize people in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit? Would it be a true baptism if they,
It
have the form?
depends on the church they belong to. Yes, some Protestant churches, their baptism is not valid. But the mainline Protestant churches, their baptism is valid. So like if you come from a Methodist church, okay, or Anglican church, okay, and you're baptized there, and you want to come into full communion with the church, the Catholic Church, you're not rebaptized. You are baptized. You are simply brought into full communion. Because in those mainline Protestant churches, they believe in the sacrament of baptism.
So it's not a rebaptism?
No, you can't if baptism is valid, it can't be done. So here, this applies to every sacrament. So when you have the sacrament of holy orders, okay, like the priesthood, they are ordaining a priest. There is also matter, okay, and a form. Okay, the man has to be a male. Okay, so the form is, okay, it's a long prayer, but there is a particular word we say that we pray, Father, okay, that you send the gift of the Spirit and whatever to make this man to share in the priesthood. Okay? So those words are like the necessary words. Okay? So what happened was that when Martin Luther broke away from, Rome, from the Catholic Church, some bishops went with him, disgruntled bishops, Catholic bishops. And when they went with him, they could validly ordain men to be priests. It's a schism break, but if you have a validly ordained bishop, he can ordain other men, and they are valid priests. He may ordain them illicitly, okay, but they are valid. It's valid. Okay? So what they did, there was a bishop who broke with Luther. His name was Bishop Cranmer, because they thought that Mass is not a sacrifice. Okay? saw why in Luther looking at testamentum and so on and so forth, because Mass is not a sacrifice. Therefore, you don't need a priest to offer sacrifice because there is no sacrifice. Okay? That was their thinking. So Kranemann went to the rite of ordination and they took from that rite everything that had to do with sacrifice and the priesthood. So he removed the necessary words, the ones which were the proper form to make that sacrament valid. And once those words were removed, all the men who were ordained using that tampered with form were not priests. Because they didn't have the proper form to make these men priests. And that's how they lost apostolic succession. And so, if you don't have priests, okay, so basically the bishops who could, even if they could ordain, they couldn't ordain rightly because they messed up the form. So the men who were ordained there couldn't effect the sacrifice because they were not priests. Now later on there was a bishop in the Anglican Church who recognized what Kranemann did and he tried to reinsert those words, but already then the validly ordained bishops were dead. So all the bishops they had were invalidly ordained, they couldn't ordain anybody. So that's how they lost apostolic succession. That's why we can't concelebrate with the Protestant priest or minister because they are not priests. That's why what they do there, that's why you can't go to a Protestant church and receive communion because it's not communion. Why? Because it can't be. Why? Because there is no priest. They may dress like a priest, they may dress like a bishop. I can dress you like a priest. That doesn't make you a priest. Okay? So that's why they don't have the sacrifice. They may say otherwise, but that's what it is.
If a Catholic priest go to join to the Protestants, can they
What happens
offer the Mass?
if you are offering, because a priest, in order for the sacrament to be valid, a priest must intend to do what the church does. And when there is disobedience, you are not intending to do what the church does.
Oh, okay, because for the disobedience, no?
Church, you must intend to do what the church does. Even if I'm offering Mass in a Catholic church, but I don't intend to do what the church does. Okay? You only intend to do what the church does if you obey the church. If you disobey the church, you don't intend to do what the church does. It's that simple. So, if I'm a priest like this coming Sunday, I ascend the altar there, and as I told you once, a priest in California did, he raised at consecration, he said, for you, this may be the body of Christ. That priest does not intend to do what the church does. He's not using proper form, so there is no Eucharist. That's why obedience is so key. Obedience is the faith. Obedience is salvation. Once there is disobedience, you mess up everything.
Father, and where did the words for the form came from?
The words?
Apostles?
Yes, the church, from the church. The church has the authority to determine the form, the matter. That authority was given to the church by Christ himself. Because he's the one who instituted these sacraments.
And that's where they place those forms in your books, right?
Yes. Yes, when you have that, it's what we call the rite of ordination, the book of rites has everything. It's the rite of baptism, ordination, marriage, whatever. Because that's why, for example, some priests, in the past had allowed married couples to write their own vows. That can truly invalidate marriage.
Why?
Because there is a proper form for marriage. It's a sacrament. This is
That's what I'm not challenging them.
No, I know. Because it has a particular form. Every sacrament has a form. So I can't say that, I'm very wise, I'm very, very prayerful. So I was before the Blessed Sacrament last night, okay? And then I came up with these lofty ideas, I wrote them down. And when I read it again, it would make a good Eucharistic prayer. So I go to Mass and use my own.
I understand.
You see?
And that's why we have Protestants.
Yes. So I can't write my own prayer of the Eucharist or whatever, no.
Yes.
However good I may think I am, the church has authority to do that. And this individual here will be able to do that. Okay?
So it's very disciplined,
Yes.
informed.
Because we're dealing with mystery, the unfolding of mystery. So the rite has to be proper. Sacrifice has to be administered the right way.
So you don't have any room for creative freedom in delivering the sacraments?
Because there is no better creative freedom than the freedom
The
of
one from
Christ.
God.
Yes. Because whatever I try to make up will always fall short. But I can create something else, okay, which is a golden calf, which makes us happy, whatever, euphoric, but it's not about God anymore. It's about us. So that's how important these things are. That's why we need to study. So St. Augustine concludes by saying these are of profit to the dead, but only to such who so live before death, that these things might be of profit to them after death. So, as one person said, that for me, I'm still working hard, okay, but only for purgatory if I make it there. Okay? So we must live in this life according to what Augustine is saying here. Okay? But whoso live before death, that the things might be from. At least those who are striving. We know we are sinners, but we try to persevere. Those who persevere until the end. Okay? I'm trying to fight sin, okay, but probably I will not die sinless. But I have to live as if, so that when I die, the prayers of the church will benefit me. If I live diametrically opposed to the mysteries of the church, how will I then call upon those mysteries to come to my aid? If I oppose those mysteries. What benefit will the prayers of the church be to me after death if all through life I consistently ridiculed church teaching about purgatory? Like there's a priest now, he's passed, okay? But he constantly ridiculed the teaching of the church in purgatory.
Why?
Because he didn't believe. It's that simple.
So because the priest didn't believe,
Yeah.
he kind of contaminated the people that...
Definitely, because if you don't believe and you have the loudspeaker, the platform, you can mislead others. Okay, so, but just to think about that. If you are, let's say you are a Christian, or any other Christian, good, for that matter, a believer, a disciple of Christ, you say there is no purgatory, I don't believe in that nonsense, and you die. Okay? Then what do you want God to do with you? You are not fit for heaven yet, but there is no purgatory. Where should I put you? The only Bible place for you is hell, that's what you said. It's so silly not to believe with the church. Why do we oppose church teaching on these matters? Okay? So you plead on God, please forgive me, whatever. But it is there. Will be judged according to what we did in the flesh. I may not be good at prayer. I may not be good at charity. I may not be good at sacrificing and whatever. But I try. That I can do. But believing all these things because God has put them before us. Then I will say, God, I was weak, please. I believe. But if I say I don't believe in that, then what will God do with me? It's not that I had weaknesses per se that I was striving, but I rejected medication. So what do you want me to do with it?
What kind of like people who don't believe, openly, okay, but their point is that I'm a good person, I do good charity, I do good deeds to others.
Well, there's confusion sometimes with people like that. Eh? They may not truly mean actual what not believing means. Okay? Yeah, but the thing is that there are some who truly believe that they don't believe in God. There is no God, but they are good people. The question is, what is good? And how do you know that it is good? And so, there's a way you have to know that this is good. So what is good? What is goodness? What is the standard? What's the measure? So in the end, if you say you're a good person, you will end up believing in God. Because you can't be good without the good. But what is the good? By which you are good. So you can be good in your own estimation, because if you don't have a measure of what goodness is, a canon, a measure of what goodness is, how do you know you are good? You can only know you are good by the measure of goodness. You can only know by we are doing evil by the measure of evil. Because if you say there is no God, okay, then you can't accuse anybody of anything. What is evil for you is not evil for me. Because it's good for me because I'm the measure of goodness. I'm the standard. So whoever says I'm a good person, that's the first question you have to ask. What is good? And what is the in relation to what? In relation to who? You say you are good in relation to what? In relation to who? What is goodness? And then they will start fidgeting with it.
Well, you said before, most recently, about morality and faith being flip sides of the same coin.
Yes.
And what I noticed, and along the same lines of what we're talking about, because I think that denouncing God has become very popular in today's society, probably because God's followers are very imperfect, and it sometimes doesn't make it very attractive for the case of us. And so I have seen, and I don't know if this existed in hundreds of years ago time, or if it's something unique to our generation, but it seems like a popular thing to do out there. At the same time, what I have seen are God's followers going out and breaking the 10 Commandments every weekend. And then you have people that denounce God, but they seem to be very moral and they seem to keep the commandments and these kind of things. How do you deal with that? You have denouncers that are good and moral, and you have believers that are not so much.
Yes, so then you have to examine what faith is. Are they believers?
In practice,
You have to ask yourself that.
it's funny because I see denouncers in practice that seem like the most